The Hex, ancient eternal weapons, have risen from the depths of the ocean to destroy Krakowa. Will the X-Men and Avengers be able to stop them? Well, let's hop into the pages of Axe Judgment Day issue number 2 and find out together, shall we? So then, as we join the book, we're treated to another rather interesting aside. The mysterious narrator with the pink dialogue boxes introduces us to several everyday regular old humans. We get to see how this holy war between Eternals and X-Men are affecting their everyday lives. Some people think that the mutants are finally getting what they deserve after years of being far too hoity-toity and full of themselves. Some are completely indifferent and just go on with their lives as normal, and others have to wonder if maybe they've been on the wrong side this whole time. Keep this in mind because this will actually end up being very important later on. From there we head on back to Krakowa, where the battle is only just starting to heat up. The Hex are assailing the island, and in a nice bit of connective tissue, our main POV character for the fight is none other than Exodus. If you're like me and read the Immortal X-Men tie-in from last week, also written by Karen Gillan, then you're gonna love how easily all of this ends up syncing up with each other. In the mutants' ultimate time of need, though, they end up getting some much-needed assistance from the Avengers. Yes, that's right, they've come to help. Despite this series being sold as a whole X-Men versus Eternals versus Avengers thing, they actually seem to be much more helpful than you would assume. We actually get a great little aside between Captain America and Cyclops, wherein we're reminded that Cap had always really been a major advocate of Cyclops and his ability to maybe turn the X-Men back to their superhero roots. Likewise, Scott very much respects Steve, but at the same time, a major divide has been put in their relationship ever since the mutants' resurrection protocols went public. The Avengers do their best to not only fight the Hex, but evacuate the non-combative mutants. Things end up changing, though, when the Hex start creating massive tsunamis all over the world. The Avengers, with Scott's blessing, are forced to leave to go and save regular everyday people, though mutants like Destiny and some of the other more hardline Krakowa people take this as a sign that the Avengers never really cared about them and that this was only ever about saving face because they left them the moment the going got tough and they had to decide between mutants and humans. Now, back with Iron Man and the rest of the good movie adjacent Eternal forces, they're still hard at work trying to build a brand new Celestial, the idea being that Droog is manipulating the Eternal principles to start a holy war that only serves to keep him in power, the idea being if they build a brand new god from scratch, then that god can stop the war. Mr. Sinister gets shanghaied into servitude, and we discover that he actually studied a bunch of celestial science back in the day, but stopped when he figured it was too unpredictable. We also learned that Essex knew Tony's dad. I really gotta give credit to Gillen too, because as we see Iron Man and his team go around and find Eternal genetic samples, it's basically just one giant excuse for him to flex his nerd continuity muscles, as we get treated to a montage of a bunch of important landmarks from the Marvel Universe that are important to Eternal history, like where the first host fell, or how Odin tried to fight the Celestials using the power of the Destroyer back in the day, meaning that the suit still has some genetic residue on it, or even Iron Man himself, who piloted a Celestial to do battle against Null a couple events ago. In fact, it's right around here it's revealed that that pink narration box we've been seeing since this series began is actually the brand new Celestial god that they all end up giving birth to, talking in the past tense. Now, back on Krakowa, the X-Men end up making some major strides in their battle against the Hex. Exodus especially ends up being the real most valuable player in this battle. He's just such a religious fundamentalist stoked on getting to relive his days as a crusader that he willingly kamikazes himself to bring down one of the Hex, which we discover later is actually named Sin, quite ironically, but Sin spelt with a Y. It's here too we're reminded just how destructive for the rest of the world a battle between Eternals and X-Men is ultimately going to end up being if it keeps going, because, well, neither side can die. The Five got moved so they can work overtime to bring back all the heaviest hitters who end up dying in the fight. Exodus especially is brought back moments later after his death. Here's the thing though, the Hex might be giant killer robots, but they're still Eternals too, meaning when they die, they are ultimately reborn in the machine as well. Only with the extra added twist that we know after reading Gillen's main Eternal series, and that is that the Eternals are only immortal because every time they're brought back, a regular human loses their life. The X-Men don't know this yet, only we the reader do. In fact, we are once again shown snapshots of all those regular everyday day humans from the beginning of this issue as one dies so Sin can be reborn. Now, even though the X-Men managed to bring down one of the 6 giant hexes, that's still not to say their island home is safe. Quite the opposite. A giant fiery minotaur-looking one decides to uproot Krakowa at its very base, no doubt killing everyone on the island were he successful. He's not, though, thanks to the late intervention of, well, the brand new celestial god. I command thee stop, which, because of the eternal principles, the Hex are honor-bound to listen and retreat. So yeah, the Hex are defeated, Drew can't keep going with his holy war, looks like the day is totally saved, right man, and only 2 issues, what a short event. Yeah, that's not the case at all, though. You see, this new celestial god has maybe only been a god for 5 minutes, but in that time it has made some observations. Basically, it has come to the realization that everyone on Earth sucks. You suck as individuals, you suck as collectives, you have destroyed the machine that is Earth. You are all cruel and selfish, and I will do what Celestials have been doing since the dawn of creation. I judge you, planet Earth. And when he says planet Earth, he really does mean all of it. Not just the superheroes we've been following, but also those regular people too. If Earth wants to be saved, then the people of Earth are going to have to try and plead their case to this brand new god why they're worth saving at all. And it's on that note right there the comic comes to an end, everyone. And so that was Axe Judgment Day issue 2, and I gotta say, I like this second issue much more than I like the first issue. Leave it to Gillen to take all of this into some interesting unforeseen territory. Honestly, when the book was called Judgment Day, I thought they were just being cute, like they picked what they thought was an important sounding name, yet lo and behold, it was actually very important to the story itself in the end. I dig this whole apocalyptic tone Gillen is going for here. It is sadly very topical. I mean, what with the 3-year-long plague we've been dealing with, the new plague starting soon, the land war in Europe, the erosion of social safety nets, the fall of empires, and the rise of strongman fascism all over the world, it's hard to not feel like we're living in the goddamn end times, am I right? This story actually looks to try and grab that zeitgeist and run with it, which I think is really interesting for a superhero type story. We've seen the Avengers, the X-Men, and the Eternals save people from danger all the time, but can they save us from ourselves, basically? It's a cool idea, and one that I hope ends up sticking the landing, because it is really damn creative, especially for a big summer blockbuster Marvel event, which usually just breaks down to people fighting because it's cool. Overall, I'd give this one a very positive 8.5 out of 10. I was really surprised by this one in a great way.
Hey there everyone, Kate Joel again, and I just want to thank you so much for watching to the end of the video. It means a lot to me. And hey, if you enjoyed the book I covered in this issue and want some comics of your own, might I recommend Book Depository? It's my #1 place for shopping for comic book trades. You get a great price, and if you use my link down in the description, you'll actually be helping me out at the same time. You get something, I get something, everybody wins, right? So until next time everyone, I've been Joel, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.